welcome our blood viewers to RTD's News English edition. As usual, we bring to you the major and top highlights of tonight. The head of state chairs the work of the 15th session of Council of Ministers. And on the international scene, more than 400,000 displaced children in Lebanon, Israel-Lebanon conflict. Those were the major and top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our blood viewers. Under the chairmanship of His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, President of the Republic, Head of Government, the 15th session of the Council of Ministers took place this Tuesday, October 15, 2024. The following texts were examined and approved. Let's listen to the government spokesperson.
Sous la présidence du chef de l'État, Son Excellence M. Ismail Omar Guelleh, s'est tenue la 15e séance du Conseil des ministres en ce mardi 15 octobre 2024.
The first question, draft law approving the financial account of the Djiboutian Office for Development of Geothermal Energy for fiscal year 2023. Obock financial account for fiscal year 2023 show incomes of 393 million and expenses of 441 million. Earnings for the year were significantly lower than in the 2022. Income for the 2023 financial year fell sharply 180.4 million due to the reductions in the government subsidies, 44.9 million. This will fall from 381 million in 2022 to 337 million in 2022, and will also include the cost of water and electricity consumption expenses for the year amounted to 441 million, down and 3.8 million due to a reduction in external services, 95.7 million, and personal costs were 11.4 million. Draft law approving the financial account of Djibouti International Oil Company for fiscal year 2023. The SHD financial account for fiscal year 2023 show incomes of 45 billions and expenses of 44 billions, with a profit of 352 millions. Earnings for the year remained in surplus but are lower than in 2022, falling from 980 millions in 2022 to 352.6 million in 2023. Operating revenue are also down 5.4 billions to 44.9 billions compared with the 14.4 billions in 2022. This decline is linked to a drop in the quantity of products sold, which stood at 255,744 against a forecast quantities of 500. Operating expenses fell from 48.3 billion in 2022 to 43.7 billion in 2023. They mainly comprised purchases 41.5 billion, which are down, and personal costs, which are up by almost 7.5 million. Financial expenses amounted to 304.4 million. Exceptional expenses amounted to 583 million compared with the 575.9 million in 2022. Increase in the purchase prices of diesel and kerosene took place in March 2023. Over the 2023 period, SHD invested more than 1.22 billion, mainly in constructions, installations, and fitting out IT, office equipment, and transport materials. Draft law approving the financial account of the radio televisions of Djibouti for fiscal year 2023. RTD's financial statement for 2023 show incomes of 1.5 billion and expenses of 1.5 billion. Profit for the year is down from 5.6 million in 2022 to 43.5 million in 2023. Incomes of the year amounted to 1.51 billion, an increase of 177.2 million. Income consists of the government subsidies 1.07 billions, advertising incomes 100 million, and royalty income 235.3 million. Expenses for the year amounted to 1.56 billions, an increase of 226.4 millions. The main expenses item were personal costs, 963 millions, purchases and external charges, 469 millions. RTD invested 229 millions in technical installation, transport equipment, and IT and offices equipment. The Ministry of Youth and Culture's draft law setting out the guidelines of the National Volunteers Policy and establishing the Djibouti National Volunteer Corps. Volunteering has become an important tool for promoting economic and social development. It meets vocational training needs and aims to help our young people get involved in civic projects. It is also an instrument for building civic awareness. The present draft law aims to promote and regulate national volunteering in the Republic of Djibouti by creating Djiboutian Voluntary Corps under the supervision of the Ministry in charge of youth. National volunteering is an activity of general interest carried out freely by individuals for the benefit of public and private legal entities pursuing missions of general interest or professional integration. This bill aims to establish a clear legal framework and define the rights and duties of volunteers. This project is in line with the objectives of the Djibouti Vision 2035. The Minister of Labour in charge of formalization and social protection. The fifth question draft decree appointed the member of the ad hoc commission in charge of reforming the special status of civil servants and setting the amount of their lump sum allowance. The purpose of this draft decree is to set up another commission to reform the special status of civil servants. The recent promulgations of the new general status for civil servants and the forthcoming finalizations of the implementing decrees for the general status have prompted the government to embark on the third and final phase of this reform. This third phase concerns the special status of certain civil servant corps. The draft decree thus proposes the creation of an ad hoc commission dedicated to this reform. Among other things, this commission will be tasked with drawing up an inventory of existing special status, identifying the points that need to be brought into line, and proposing new special status where necessary. The adoption of this draft decree will harmonize special status within the civil services and establish a framework for consultation across all ministerial departments. The Minister of Budget, the sixth question draft order allocating a parcel of land to the Ministry of Commerce and Tourism. The purpose of the draft orders is to allocate 1,000 meter square plot of land located at Pika 51 to the Ministry of Trade and Tourism. This plot of land is intended for the construction of a one-stop shop. The Minister of Justice and Prison Affairs in charge of human rights. The seven questions draft decree on the appointment of and assignment of magistrates are appointed Madame Nabiha Jama, Inspectrice General des Services Judiciaires. The following magistrates are appointed inspectors of the IGSG: Ms. Hodan Idris Abdullahi, Ms. Habiba Hashim Jama, Mr. Ahmed Hassan Jama, Mr. Abdul Qadir Hassan Abdullah Hassan, Muhammad Sultan Muhammad. The following magistrates are appointed to the Supreme Court: Mr. Jama Suleiman Ali, President of the Supreme Court; Ms. Alsan Muhammad Ilmi, Acting Attorney General to the Supreme Court. The following magistrates are appointed the Supreme Court Advisor: Ms. Sirad Wais Boulale, Mr. Ahmed Hallatu Deta, Mr. Hussein Mahmoud Hussein, Ms. Muna Ali Hassan. The following magistrates are appointed to the Djibouti Court of Appeal: Madame Nim'a Ali Warsama, première présidente près de la Cour d'appel; Madame la Miss Mohamed Saïd, procureur général de la République; Madame Mr. Mohamed Ibrahim Mohammed, President of the Personal Status Appeal Chamber of the Court of Appeal. Appointed to the Balbala Court of Appeal: Ms. Khadira Mohammed Idris, the first President of the Balbala Court of Appeal. The following magistrates are appointed councillors to the Djibouti Court of Appeal: Madame Sagal Mohammed Idris, Madame Sagal Hassan Elmi, Mr. Abdurrahman Roble Gire, Mr. Addawi Mohammed Mahmoud, Madame Halima Elmi Daher, Mr. Habib Mafru Mohammed, Mr. Maulid Ilmi Isa, Ms. Shaima Amir Nasser. The following magistrates are appointed Deputy Public Prosecutor to the Djibouti Court of Appeal: Mr. Abu Bakr Ahmed Dubad, Mr. Abdullah Hamad Ahmed, Mr. Hassan Idris Igi. The following magistrates are appointed to the administrative court. Mr. Abdullahi Usman Ibrahim, President of the Administrative Court. Ms. Hibu Ali Muhammad, currently with her duty, concurrently with her duty as magistrate at the Court of First Instance, is appointed advisor to the Administrative Court. Mr. Saad Ismail Umar, concurrently with his duty as a magistrate to the Court of the First Instance, is appointed consular to the Administrative Court. The following magistrates are appointed to the Djibouti Court of the First Instance. Mr. Umar Saeed Ahmed Muhammad, President of the Court of the First Instance. Mr. Ibrahim Farah Adawi, President of the Personal Studies Court. Mr. Hassan Muhammad Hassan, Public Prosecutor. The following magistrates are assigned to the Djibouti Court of First Instance. Madam Degan Yusuf Ibrahim, Examining Magistrate, Cabinet C. Miss Matilda Magib Nasser, Examining Magistrate, Cabinet B. Madam Muna Yusuf Umar, Examining Magistrate in Cabinet A. Miss Hafsa Ahmed Bahdoun, Juvenile Judge. Miss Anisa Sheikh Ibrahim, Magistrate. Ms. Fathia Ismail Awale, Magistrate, Mr. Hamza Barre Aden, Magistrate, and Madam Nasteho Buni Abdi, Deputy Public Prosecutor of Djibouti, Mr. Isam Khalid Abdallah, Sentence Enforcement Judge. The following magistrates are assigned to the Djibouti Personal Studies Court. Ms. Mariam Ayfarah Sharif, Ms. Mariam Mahmoud Haji Ali, Mr. Yasin Said Iltire, Mr. Abdurrahman Galab Dabar, Judge of the Personal Studies Court. Mr. Osman Abdi Suge, Deputy Public Prosecutor at the Personal Studies Court. Magistrate of the second grade of the Magistrate Corps are appointed as a judge and court of the first instance. Mr. Adan Ali Buh, Madam Muna Mumin Gedi, Mr. Usman Jama Usman, Mr. Wa'is Muhammad Ali. The following magistrates are appointed to the Balbala Court of the First Instance. Mr. Mahdi Yusuf Umar, President of the Court of the First Instance. Mr. Mahmoud Abdul Qadir Hamza, President of the Personal Studies Court. Mr. Mukhtar Mahmoud Abdullahi, Procureur de la République, près du tribunal de première instance. The following magistrates are appointed to the Dakhil Court of the First Instance. Madam Iman Muhammad Ilmi, President of the Court of the First Instance. Mr. Abdullahi Awali Arab, President of the Personal Studies Court. Mr. Obock Yusuf Salah, Procureur de la République, près du tribunal de première instance. The following magistrates are appointed to the Obock Court of the First Instance. Madam Saada Muhammad Sanalase, President of the Court of the First Instance. Mr. Ilmi Robli Ateye, President of the Personal Studies Court. Mr. Mahdi Abdi Rage, Procureur de la République près du tribunal de première instance. The following magistrates are appointed Technical Advisor to the Minister of Justice, Mr. Ahmed Osman Hashi, Principal Consular, Ms. Khadra Musa Ahmed, Ms. Zanuba Saeed Abu Bakr, Mr. Abdurrahman Muhammad Ilmi. The following officials have been appointed to the various directorates of the Ministry of Justice: Mr. Hussein Abdullahi Rayale, Director of the Arabic Department; Ms. Asma Abdi Gahar, Director of Legislation and Reforms; Ms. Tasneem Abdullah Abdu, Director of Judicial Services; Ms. Sumayya Muhammad Mumin, Director of Personnel and Budget; Madam Farbuzusa Muhammad Bghorre, Communication Directors; and Mr. Zakaria Yahya Awale, Director of Penitentiary Administration. The following officers are appointed Technical Advisor: Ms. Ikram Muhammad Adan, Ms. Faiza Haza Khaid. The following officials are paid and appointed Magistrate of the second grades of the Magistracy: Mr. Usman Jama Usman, Mr. Usman Abdi Suge, Mr. Abdurrahman Galab Dabar, Mr. Wa'is Muhammad Ali. The following magistrates have been appointed to the Court of Auditor: Madam Sumayya Abdi Absiye, Ms. Nawal Ismail Abdo, Ms. Zamzam Muhammad Ali. Madam Ebla Abdi Jama, Magistrate of the First Instances in second of the National Commissioners of the Independent Preventionists of Corruption. The 8th question is draft decree striking of the name of a magistrate. Mr. Ilyas Suleiman Ali, Deputy Public Prosecutor, is removed from the magistrature. The Ministry of Digital Economy and Innovation draft decree appointing Mr. Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah is appointed Managing Director of the Center for Leadership and Entrepreneurship. Communication, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, government spokesman reported on his participation in the 79th sessions of the United Nations General Assembly held from September 22 to 27, 2024 in New York on the sidelines of the 79th sessions of the UN General Assembly. The minister also took part in the Summit of the Future, which brought together heads of state and government, leaders of international organizations, and representatives of civil society and the private sector to discuss urgent global challenges and ways of building a more sustainable, inclusive, and resilient world. He also took part in the ministerial meetings of the non-aligned movement, the Arab Foreign Ministers Group, on the existential threats posed by rising sea level, and the African Union's Peace and Security Councils on the situations in Sudan. He also reported on his participation in the 48th G77 China ministerial meetings. The minister also reported on his participation in the 19th Francophonie Summit held in Paris from October 4 to 5, 2024.
Yesterday, in an atmosphere both warm and determined, Mr. Ilyas Moussaouawali, Minister of Economy and Finance, in charge of industry, received Dr. Khalid Sharif, the newly appointed Executive Director of the African Development Bank, representing Egypt and Djibouti. The meeting, held in the Minister's office, symbolized a significant step forward in forging stronger relations between Djibouti and the ADB. At the heart of the discussions were innovative strategies for mobilizing essential resources. At the heart of the discussions, it was put forward the financing of priority infrastructure projects was identified as a fundamental access for stimulating sustainable and inclusive development. Both parties insisted on the crucial importance of supporting the private sector, a real engine for job creation, in particular for Djibouti's youth, eager for prospects and opportunities. In a statement issued by the Executive Director of the African Development Bank, he said that his current visit to Djibouti is part of the implementation of the Djibouti Vision 2035, and that he is accompanied by a high-level working group from the African Development Bank and the World Bank. The focus is on health and industrial development, in addition to strengthening the role of the private sector in Djibouti and creating new employment opportunities for young people through future tourism projects. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation and Government spokesman, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, met the President of the Sudanese Serving Council, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, in Port Sudan. During the meeting, the Minister conveyed a message from His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Djibouti, Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, to the President of the Sudanese Serving Council on the strengthening of mutual relations between the Republic of Djibouti and Sudan and ways of developing them. At the end of the meeting, the minister expressed Djibouti's concern about the situation in Sudan, condemning the suffering of the Sudanese people as a result of the ongoing conflict. He also reiterated Djibouti's desire to see Sudan return to the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, stressing that Sudan is a founding member of the organization and plays a vital role in the region. In this context, the President, in his capacity as Chairman of IGAD, sent a message urging the Chairman of the Serving Council, General Al-Burhan, to reconsider the decision to suspend Sudan's membership of the organization and the need to restore its position as an active member. In his speech, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation stated that he had the honor of delivering a written message from the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, to the President of the Sudanese Serving Council, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. He said that the Djiboutian government are closely following recent developments on the Sudanese scene and expressed its deep regret for the suffering of the Sudanese people from the scourge of war imposed on them by the rebellion, which has carried out sabotage and rape. The Republic of Djibouti, at the 75th session of the UNHCR Executive Committee, a renowned commitment to refugee protection. The Republic of Djibouti, represented by Mr. Saeed Nur Hassan, Minister of Interior, took part in the 75th session of the Executive Committee of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, which took place from October 14 to 18, 2024 in Geneva, Switzerland. At this international event, Djibouti reaffirmed its commitment to the rights of refugees and its active role in global humanitarian protection efforts. Taking his turn to speak, the Minister of Interior, Mr. Saeed Anu Hassan, stressed the importance of reaffirming the international commitment to protecting refugees in the face of crisis in East Africa caused by conflict and climate change. He called for greater support for Djibouti faced with an intense migratory flow while thanking partners for their assistance and urged that the causes of forced displacement is tackled. After the twinning signing ceremony between Obock and Ali Sibih officials from the two regions and Decentralization Minister Mr. Qasim Harun Ali, as well as guests from had the opportunity to discover innovative and sustainable projects in the Obock region. They visited the leisure park, which offers a space for relaxation and recreation for families, as well as the Obock factory, a recycling project that transfers plastic bottles into paving stones, demonstrating a strong commitment to the environment. In addition, they were able to discover a new building that will serve as a one-stop shop designed to facilitate access to administrative services for citizens. This morning, the Djibouti Chamber of Commerce hosted an important meeting debate on the theme of business and human rights, organized by the National Commission for Human Rights. The meeting marked the start of the process to draw up a national action plan for business and human rights. The event was attended by several leading figures, including CNDH President Mr. Ali Subane Atiye, Chamber of Commerce President Mr. Yusuf Musa Dawale, Ministry of Justice Secretary General Makki Umar Abdul Qadir, and the UNDP Resident Representative. The aim of the meeting was to raise awareness of human rights issues in the business world and to present the main stages of the National Action Plan. Discussions provided an opportunity to explain the principles of the plan, the steps already taken, and those to come. Participants also discussed the challenges of opportunities presented by this project, particularly in terms of transparency and corporate responsibility and respecting human rights. In addition to providing information, the meeting encouraged a dialogue on how companies can play an active role in protecting human rights. The National Action Plan will provide an essential reference framework for strengthening the protection of human rights in the private sector. The plan will enable Djiboutian companies to comply with international standards and thereby improving their competitiveness in the global marketplace by fostering a more ethical business environment that respects human rights. The 220th session of UNESCO's Executive Board opened today at the organization's headquarters in Paris. The major event was attended by a wide range of participants, including representatives of member states, international organizations, UN agencies, NGOs, and specialized institutes in the fields of education, cultural, and science. The Republic of Djibouti, represented by Ambassador Ayed Moussa Diahya, marked this session by its active participation. On October 9th, the Parliament delegate also charged the work of the Special Committee, confirming its commitment to the organization's objectives. Shifting gears towards the international scene now, many women have been forced to leave their homes, just like her, as the Israeli army intensifies its operations against Hezbollah. Pregnant women are paying a heavy price. The children are not housed in the best possible conditions. They are struggling to continue their schooling because of the violence, while 400,000 of them have been displaced by the hostilities over the past 3 weeks. According to a statement issued by UNICEF on Monday, the last thing that the country needs, on top of everything it has been through, is the risk of a lost generation. Well, by this, our blood viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more as usual. Have a wonderful evening and take care.